I'd like to welcome everyone to today's Lunch and Learn. This should be a good one. Today we have, as our feature presentation, will be Air Force SBIR contracting with Kim Yoder. Then we have a winning example that we want to share with you, and a few updates. So just to give you, kind of set the tone for how we're interacting today. The people that are live that you see in just a few minutes, you may ask questions while they're here, and hopefully they'll answer them. And then when we go into today's feature presentation, unfortunately, our speaker is here from a canned presentation, a very good one that we had with Tech Warrior Enterprise earlier this year. Unfortunately, she had a circumstance that she was not able to be here. She planned to be here afterwards for questions. So if you have questions, write them down. Give them to us, or you'll have her contact information. She welcomes those. So if you've got follow-up questions, we welcome those. Just to let you know that due to circumstances we couldn't control, she's not here in person to answer the question portion. With that in mind, I'm going to turn it over to John Matecki with Tech Warrior Enterprise.
Thanks, Alan. Just wanted to update. This was our first week. We've got a couple more here after this, so I've got a couple minutes in between, so thank you for allowing me to jump on and give you guys an update. So we've talked to quite a few companies this week, so I'm really excited for what's to come with Encountering Innovation. A lot of great products and a lot of change for the warfighter. So I'm really stoked about what's coming out of the entrepreneurs that really is going to change the way we do business from the warfighter. So thank you for those of you that may be on the call that have already chat with us this week. Hopefully it was very informative and that we've helped you. If you're a tech coach, please help your folks, because we've pointed them back to you to start linking them up and get them going. So everyone's excited to start working with our tech coaches. So really great week. We're looking to go into next week to where we're going to have more companies. We do currently have 10 slots. That's all we have available for next week. So if you have not yet registered with us to do your demonstration performance, please do so. And we ask that you come prepared. So if you haven't seen the video from 3 weeks ago, please reach out to Nikki, Ellen, or Mindy to get that, so that you know what you're walking into, rather than eat up a whole bunch of time of rehashing. But be ready to show and tell your product. So great week. Looking forward to next week, and then really looking forward to getting out in Kansas. Dan and I are physically going to be in Kansas, so we're going to help with the team wherever we can. If there's anything that we can do for any of you folks that are small businesses, please reach out. So if there's any questions, I'll hang out for a couple minutes. If they come through the chat, I'll respond to them the best I can. Otherwise, I will drop off about quarter after. Again, thank you so much for letting us be part of this, Alan. This is a great program. Encountering Innovation is top notch. If you guys are still on the fence, it's one of the best events that we've had the privilege to be part of. So if there's questions, I'll stick around for a little bit. With that, I'm going to turn it back over to you, Alan. Thanks again for having me.
Great. Thanks, John. For those of you, we've heard from some of our innovators that have already experienced doing their demo, learning a lot, opening up their eyes, and giving them an even improved perspective from the warfighter. The more, no matter who you're pitching to, if you can understand and focus on your audience, you always do better. So having John and Dan with Tech Warrior Enterprise to be able to go over your product, your product, your innovation, this is a very good opportunity. So thank you so much. I don't think we see any questions yet, so I was going to scoot on over to Sherry Geegan at Wichita State and let her give you a little bit of a reminder of what's coming up.
Hi, I'm Sherry Geegan, as Alan mentioned, with Wichita State University here in Kansas. And I would echo what John said about the Encountering Innovation being a great event and a really wonderful opportunity for small businesses. And I've had the opportunity to participate the last couple of years, and I don't have enough good things to say. So with that being said, we just wanted to let you guys know about an opportunity coming up next week. We're having the program director for the SBIR Department of Navy speak Bob Smith. I don't know if any of you know him, but he's a great guy and a great speaker, very willing to have a discussion and answer questions and be, you know, as honest as he can be. So great speaker, great opportunity with the pre-release for the Navy SBIR, STTR solicitations opening August 25th for the pre-release period, and then the full open September 23rd, and those BAAs will close on October 22nd. So great timing and opportunity for you guys to learn about some of the changes going on with their program and ask questions regarding the current topics. The registration link is on the slide. I know Alan's going to be sending that out. There's no cost for registration now, and it is a virtual opportunity via webinar. So if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer those.
Am I back?
You're back.
Okay. You know, some of our technology sometimes has to remind me that I've got my Bluetooth connected to my phone there and to my head for the computer. So I got pulled out for a second. Sorry about that. So a question I have for you is, what kind of support do you have for those that attend the webinar afterwards? Give us a little bit of an insight on strategic initiatives, just a 1 minute bluff.
Sure. We're available to help small businesses do searches for topics, solicitation matching, not only for the Navy, but for other agencies as well. We can help you with your proposal development strategy, details on the financial aspects and technical aspects of the proposal. Of course, we don't write them for you, but we can provide guidance and assistance and feedback and connect you with other resources that can help with proposal development as well. And then we can do post-award and assistance and I just lost my train of thought. I'm so sorry. But basically general guidance through the entire process for SBIR and STTR. If you're interested in an STTR program, of course, being at the university, we can help connect you to resources within WSU, as well as other university and federal lab resources that you might be interested in, not just Wichita State.
Great. Thank you very much. So yeah, we've got her information. We've got the information here. This will be in your slide deck after we're through, so you're able to follow up. And if you get confused, you can always reach out to each of us. All right. Thank you, Sherry.
We do have a couple of questions.
All right.
The first question is the event open to folks outside of Kansas?
Absolutely. Yes, it's open to anyone that wants to attend.
Okay, and the second question is, experience suggests that 94% of all SBIR, STTR are granted to military research and academic institutions and only 6% for small businesses. Is this correct?
I don't know the exact figures, but it sounds a little heavy, or a lot heavy to me on institutions. So
yeah, I'll speak up and say, yeah, putting SBIR and STTR together is probably a mistake. STTR is required, you're requiring, they're requiring the small business to connect with either university or a lab. You're forced to, if you will, but not with SBIR. But in both cases, the first two names of this is small business.
Right, so you have to be a small business to be the applicant on an SBIR, STTR. So there might be involvement with a university or institution on either SBIR or STTR. Like Alan said, it's required on STTR, but the small business is the applicant and the awardee.
Yeah. So I would not have a clue where that percentage came from. I would say that was pretty much very erroneous.
Maybe
Okay.
participate, but not, yeah.
Right. Okay, thank you very much. I think we're good on questions. We're going to skip on. We are now proud to introduce Kevin Kowalik with HCI Energy. Kevin is a client of ours. They have presented at Encountering Innovation, and they've got some really good information for us today. So for those of you that have questions, from an experience point of view, we don't want to blow up an hour of time for Kevin, and we don't want to also sideswipe him here. But I do encourage, if you have questions, this is a good time. Kevin's here for the early part of the presentation, so we're excited to be able to congratulate them and ask them to come on because of our Air Force SBIR contracts presentation. We thought this was a good opportunity. Kevin?
Hey, thanks, Alan. Really appreciate the invite of being here. Like Alan said, I'm here to try to help guide you guys along the way. It wasn't very long ago that I was in your shoes as kind of a newbie, not understanding any of this stuff. And I am where I am today just because of perseverance, I guess. So real quick, I'll just give you a quick history of where we've been and kind of what we've been awarded year to date. And back in November of 2019, I did my very first how to do business with the government class. It was a 101 class. I had no idea, and started with that and then kind of worked my way. And like Alan said, last year we presented at Encountering Innovations. Also last year, right around June, I was introduced to the SBIR program and decided to go after the 19.2 cycle, an open topic within AFWERX. One thing led to another, and we were awarded that phase one SBIR through AFWERX open topic, and we followed that up with a phase two SBIR through AFWERX, which is a demo testing, and we're doing that at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base and for a 19.3. So that was the end of last year, so it was pretty exciting. From there, we won another phase one through AFWERX, 20.1. And then right after that, we won the Navy 20.4 phase one. And so as you guys can tell, we've won 4 SBIR awards, 3 with AFWERX, 1 with the Navy. Last week, it was just announced the Air Force has many different challenges. And last week, they had the winners announced for the Air Force Base of the Future, Installation Resilience. And they had many different categories, and ours was Power, and we won that award last week. And so that was very exciting for us to move along. So like I said, I've been in your shoes in the past, not knowing anything about what's going on, to now I feel like I have a general idea of how things are working. I can speak military and government acronyms, not very well, but enough to understand. And so I'm just here to answer any questions that you might have along the way. I've always told Alan and his team that, you know, I always want to pay it forward or pay it back. If there's anybody I can help mentor or work with, I have no problem doing that and answering these questions. So I think the SBDC and the team does a really good job of education, but you also have to get out there and put a little bit of work in as yourself. So I'll kind of stop from there and see if anybody has any questions, and we can move on.
So, Kevin, I've got my first question would be on your most recent participation with the Base of the Future. How much time chronologically from the time you heard about it to the time of the notification of the award, how much time passed?
Yeah, I'm trying to think about that right now. The Air Force, just so everybody understands, is the fastest, in my opinion, the fastest branch of the military to move. They're on the cutting edge. I believe it was in February or March I think is when I had submitted that. They're going through another challenge right now, and I'll give you an example of how it works. I was a part of a 3-day workshop this week. We put in 12 hours total. It's an energy workshop and what's next. It finished yesterday, and then within 8 days, the challenge will open up. This is how fast they work. And then from
Wow.
there, it goes parallel with you guys, what you were talking about. There's the SBIR 20.3 cycle. It goes in parallel with that, and then it will close, and they'll be nominating and be working forward, and all that will be done by the end of this year. So it's a matter of months, really. They work at warp speed in terms of the military typical timeline.
So we've got a couple of questions here. One says, Kevin, what positive results came from your participation in Encountering Innovation?
Yeah, so I think the biggest thing is it helps us prepare for what the military is looking for. So there's a couple different things that we had to put together and start to understanding, again, how to speak military, or what's the business case that we're putting forth to the military, because it might be a little different than it is commercially. So the quad chart, the BLUF, our presentation to the military, all of that were very positive results that helped us out, as well as, again, we're trying to socialize our technology to those guys, to the DoD. And so getting in front of the tech scouts was very, very beneficial.
Great. So another question says, talk about your IP and its role in with your company.
Mm-hmm. So our IP is what you can see there on the screen. We have what's called the hybrid cube. And what we do is we take an ISO standardized type of container, 20 foot, 10 foot, or 6 foot. We pack it in with renewable energy, battery storage, generator, fuel tank. And commercially, we sell it into telecom. So we have room in there for radios. Within the DoD, we make that space smaller because they don't need any end user gear. And so I'm assuming that you're talking about there's two different types of IP. I don't think it's individual patent, but we do have patents on our technology. And really what happens with our tech is we're able to power anything wherever you need power, whether it's on grid or off grid. Not sure if that quite answers the complete question, so please answer a follow-up if you need that.
So we've got another one. Could you further describe your experience with AFWERX in terms of how you partnered with an Air Force customer? What was required to prove the partnership during your application, memorandum of understanding, letter of support, and any tips for success?
Yeah, no problem. So I'll be honest with everybody. Air Force, it has probably the lowest hurdle to get over to get a phase one. Okay, so they give those out. Their goal is to get more shots on goal. That's their terminology. So that way they can try to push as much technology as fast as they can. So that's great for a phase one. But within the phase two, you have to go out and find, at least for the open topic, you have to go out and find your own customer, your own end user. And I find that to be very, very difficult to do because you just can't Google Air Force, whatever it's going to be. It just doesn't happen. So I think that there's what they call the valley of death. How do you move from phase one to a phase two and trying to find an Air Force customer? I think that's difficult. And I know that there's many different ways that they're trying to lower the gap, I guess, if that makes sense. So I'd say that's tough. But then, once you find that end user and getting your MOU signed or the letter of support, commitment, anything like that, it's very easy because the end user, Air Force end customer, already knows what they're doing. They don't have to put up any money if they don't want to. That's no big deal. All you're trying to do is trying to prove out your technology, and they're willing to help you out. And the dollars are coming from the SBIR bucket of money. So in terms of that, that's the easy part. Just finding them I think is the most difficult part.
So Kevin, let me ask you a quick question. Going back to kind of the Encountering Innovation conference question, were you able to reach out through your socialization with the tech scouts that engaged you? Were you able to work through them or with them, or did you try to, in order to find some of these Air Force customers?
I did, but I did not. At that time, I believe, I think Encountering Innovations was about the same time I'd already found my MOU signer,
Okay.
Which I had met at a conference. So I went to a DoD energy conference, since we're in energy, and I was able to meet many, many different DoD personnel that are in energy and one of those was AFRL, Air Force Research Labs, in which they were very interested. And since they'd already found out that I had a phase 1, they said I was low-hanging fruit for them, and we kind of moved forward. So, in terms of answer your question, I didn't really engage the Tech Scouts. I did talk with them about where I was in the process, but nothing for the phase 2.
Okay, so that's one of the things. I'll go back to David's question on that. David, that's one of the key. I think one of the key parts to the conference, and if everyone will remember, this conference is a moment in time. The SBDC goes on, so our job is to work with Kevin, HCI Energy, and others. Those that come in and pitch or poster board are those that consider and then back out and say, I don't think we're ready. We're still here for you. We're still trying to work with you and connect you. Getting in front of the Tech Scout assists us by in ways of introductions to potential customers, which is what this conference really is all about. So thank you, Kevin. Quick, one more says, roughly how much time and money did you, and I don't know how much of this you want to share, but how much time and money did you invest up front before winning your first contract?
So I'm assuming the contract is the phase 2, or is that the phase 1, Alan? How would you perceive that?
I'm guessing the first award. We'll answer it that. We'll ask the question that way, from the time to the first award.
Yeah, so the phase 1, very, very easy, low amount of time. Again, Air Force makes it as easy as possible. I think on a technical side of it, I think they have a 15-page slide deck, and they might have changed the requirements for this next cycle, but it used to be a 15-page technical, and it's a PowerPoint. It's very easy, and what they've told us is they want more pictures, more like pictures worth 1,000 words. So you don't have to have a writing background like you used to in the past, where you were writing a 30 or 40-page document to try to get these awards. It's a slide deck on PowerPoint and putting your ideas of how you're going to move this forward. So in terms of the phase 1, very low effort level. And at the time, they were awarding $50,000 as a max for that. So we won that. For the phase 2, a little bit more effort because I had to go out and find my own end user, Air Force end user. And I was fortunate enough to find them at this conference. But I would say that could take up a lot of time potentially if you don't have the contacts. And in the beginning, I had no contacts, didn't know who to go through in terms of trying to find that direct one. Now we have the SBDC, which is great. But again, the government is very large. It's very large, and sometimes there's a lot of people out there that it's hard to find them. So anyway, I think so that the phase 2 effort a lot harder in terms of money. If you want to count the cost to go to Encountering Innovations, which was nominal, or the time spent there, and also the time spent going to the conference and the money going to that, that was it.